Welcome to today's podcast. We're diving into an incredibly powerful concept, the 80-20 principle, also known as Pareto's law, and how it can help us achieve better work-life balance. Have you ever heard of the 80-20 rule?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are familiar with it, even if they don't always realize it. The basic idea is that 80% of outcomes come from just 20% of the efforts or causes, right?
That's exactly it. It's about recognizing where you're spending most of your energy and how you can optimize that. But when it comes to balancing work and life, how does the 80-20 principle come into play?
Well, for example, at work, we could look at how 20% of your tasks lead to 80% of your results. This can help you prioritize better, focus on the things that really matter, and delegate or drop the less impactful ones.
That sounds like a game changer for productivity. But what about in our personal lives? How can the 80-20 rule be applied there?
In your personal life, it might be that 20% of your relationships or activities bring you the most joy and fulfillment. If you focus more on those, it could free up time for rest and relaxation, which is key for balance.
Right? That seems like a way to not only boost productivity, but also find more time for the things we truly love. I imagine that's a big part of achieving that elusive work-life balance, isn't it?
Exactly. It's all about being more intentional with your time. By recognizing the 20% that's most important, you can cut out the rest, making room for everything from hobbies to quality time with family.
And what's interesting about the 80-20 principle is that it's not just a business concept, it's actually rooted in many areas of life. For instance, in health, a small change in diet or exercise could yield big improvements in overall well-being.
Totally. If you think about it, just a few healthy habits, like drinking more water or getting regular sleep, can have a massive impact on how you feel, physically and mentally. But so many people overlook that.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how small adjustments can create such large shifts. So when it comes to work, we tend to focus on efficiency. But how do we ensure we're applying the same level of efficiency in our personal lives?
I think the key is learning to say no. People often overcommit, whether it's to social events or tasks that don't really serve them. If you can identify what truly aligns with your values and goals, you'll be in a much better position to prioritize what really matters.
Saying no, something many of us struggle with, right? But once you start saying no to the non-essentials, it creates space for the things that fuel you. How do you think this impacts work-life balance?
Well, when you're able to cut out unnecessary commitments, you free up time for rest or creative activities. This in turn helps you recharge, making you more effective in both work and life. It's this cyclical relationship between balance and productivity.
That's a really healthy perspective. And it's true that work and life aren't opposing forces. They can actually complement each other. If we manage our time well, both can thrive.
Exactly. In fact, I think the whole idea of balance is often misunderstood. It's not about equal time for work and life. It's about quality and fulfillment in both areas. And the 80-20 rule helps us get there by focusing on what truly matters.
Right? Instead of constantly running around trying to give equal energy to everything, the 80-20 principle encourages us to focus on the few things that have the most impact. For instance, it could be focusing on a handful of work projects that truly move the needle rather than spreading yourself thin.
That's such an important point. And applying this to our personal lives could look like dedicating more time to deepening relationships with close friends or family members, rather than trying to maintain a large circle of acquaintances.
Exactly. It's all about depth over breadth. But let's flip the coin a bit. Do you think the 80-20 rule can sometimes lead to burnout if we're too focused on maximizing efficiency?
It's a valid concern for sure. The 80-20 principle encourages prioritization, but if you're constantly pushing for efficiency, you might overlook the need for breaks or downtime. Balance still needs to come into play here. Efficiency is great, but it can't replace self-care.
That's a really good point. Sometimes we get so caught up in being productive that we forget the importance of rest. The key is finding a balance where you're optimizing your time, but also giving yourself the grace to recharge.
And honestly, some of the best ideas come when you're not working. So creating space for relaxation or creative pursuits might actually be more productive in the long run.
So, true. Some of my best ideas come when I'm taking a walk or just enjoying some time with the family. It's all about creating that mental space to let your mind wander. You can't always be on.
I think that's why the 80-20 principle isn't just about working harder. It's about working smarter. And a big part of that is recognizing when to step back and give yourself a break so you're ready to go when you need to be.
Absolutely. It's almost like the 80-20 rule works in reverse in our personal lives, right? The 80% of your energy goes toward recharging, and the 20% of your focused time makes the most impact when you return to your work or responsibilities.
I love that analogy. It's all about efficiency, not just in the work you do, but in how you manage your energy. That's the real key to work-life balance.
And just to wrap up, I think the 80-20 principle gives us the permission to focus on what matters most rather than spreading ourselves too thin. Whether at work or in life, identifying that crucial 20% and letting go of the rest is the key to lasting balance.
Couldn't agree more. By doing that, you'll be more present in both your work and personal life, creating a fulfilling balance that doesn't feel like a constant struggle.
Exactly. So next time you feel overwhelmed, try applying the 80-20 principle and see where you can make your biggest impact and also where you can take a step back. Balance isn't about perfection. It's about being intentional.
Well said. That's all we've got for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you'll start thinking about how the 80-20 principle can bring more balance into your life.